want everyone to know that I was really practicing my what's going on in case I was going to have to fill in for you tonight.
Hey guys, I guess I should have started off like that. Hey guys.
Uh-uh. Don't get slapped. Don't get slapped. Now you got jokes.
Oh man,
Hey
listen,
guys.
I heard so many hey guys, like it just all blended in together, but I love it.
I'm so
Hey
mad.
guys.
We also got Mr. BTG Bailey, the greatest in the building. What's going on, bro?
I think Soldier Boy is a legend too, right?
Uh-uh. We are not starting. Not today, Satan.
Definitely not laughing though. I'm definitely not laughing though. I think that's
Oh
facts.
man.
I gotta write down. I gotta write down my legend list. That's what
Oh,
I'm gonna do. I'm bringing my legend list next week.
that's fine. Okay, so next week we'll break down Baylor's legend list. We're doing Marquis top 10 this week and Baylor's legend list next week. So be on the lookout. We also got
I like that.
the red wine connoisseur himself, Marquis in here in the building.
That's not racist, is it?
Everything you do is
No, it's
racist.
not.
Everything. I just want
I'm
to.
black. I can laugh up. I just can't laugh down.
I
So,
cannot.
before we get into our topics today, what do you guys think about Texas saying "fuck the pandemic"? We're reopening 100%.
And let them niggas stay over there.
Them your neighbors, Baylor.
I was
That's
going to
cool.
say.
That's cool. We gotta. Yo, Trump. Let me holler at you about that wall.
That's classic.
Oh man, you can't say that. That is hilarious. Oh man,
Oh
god
shit.
damn. Woo, shit.
But in all seriousness, right? Like we are kind of all in this together. I mean, everyone is still like traveling, so this doesn't work if some states are open and others are closed. There's no point to anyone being closed.
I mean, well, Texas really hasn't ever been closed. Like, let's just be when we in the middle, like at the height of the pandemic, because I have a lot of people in Dallas that I know. Like at the height of the pandemic, when everybody's restaurants were shut down, I knew people who lived in Dallas who were still going to like bars, no mask, in like groups of 10 and 12. So like, they haven't really given a fuck this whole time.
And these niggas is very creative. They was having drive-through strip clubs, and nigga, their brunch was still open.
Yeah.
Let them live. Well, I ain't gonna say let them live because they. Oh shit. Let me stop.
No shit.
All right,
Let me
we're
just
gonna get
stop.
canceled. Damn, we've been recording for 4 minutes. God damn it. Any, anything though else, Marky? You got anything on Texas reopening? All right,
It's
fuck
still red.
it.
It's still a red state.
So
Yeah, I'm
in the
good.
topic that almost did not make the list only because of how close somebody is to this situation, but what do you guys make of this Coil Ray and Benzino beef? Like we've seen a lot of different types of beefs. At least to my recollection, we've never seen a father and daughter have beef. The closest thing to this would have been when what Lawrence Fishburne's daughter came out with that sex tape, but that came and went.
Mm,
But what do you
that
guys
was cold. Well, you didn't have to.
what
You
do
didn't have to
what
bring
do
it
you
up.
guys think
You
about
could have.
Mary? I'll come to you first on this one. What do you think about it?
Ugh. Um, damn. I mean, it's hard to have thoughts on this because I'm a parent myself of a teen, and I think that it's Marquis and I actually have had a conversation about parenting recently on some Yum Life shit. Hashtag Yum Life. Anyway, um, and we were basically saying like you don't really know what parenting is until you parent teens. You know what I mean? Until your kid is like old enough to have their own opinions and their own opinions on you and the decisions that you've made for them and yourself. You really don't know. Like that's a whole other level of parenting. And I mean, you could tell in Benzino's response to her, like, it was kind of like the nerve. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like, he really basically broke down and he didn't really need to. And I mean, I guess I should probably preface this by saying this should not have been public. For whatever reason. I mean, like, I think that would make me want to wring my kid's neck more than anything else. It's like, yo, if you're feeling away, holler at me. And that's on everything with every situation. But whatever it was, I guess since her statement was public, he felt the need to kind of try to clear his name as being who he is. Like, yo, you grew up put it this way, in the process of him clearing his name, he kind of pulled her gangster card, right? Because I think everyone in the industry, at least artists in the hip hop realm, try to make it out like they went through some kind of struggle. And he basically was like, you never struggled, girl. Like, you had everything. I was always there. I was not an absent parent. Like, we're not going to play this game. And then that kind of did make her backtrack and be like, I'm still hurt. And it was, I don't know. The whole shit was weird. And as a parent, I was mortified, I guess. So hopefully, and I mean, I'll give him enough credit to where he basically had, solidified that, I still love you very much, but I just can't have my reputation be, dragged through the mud like that as a father. So I hope that they can kind of clear that up, honestly, because yeah, I saw that immediately from the parents' perspective, and it was like, that's some hurtful shit. So
fair enough. Baylor, what do you think?
I wanted to say something bad about kids, but I'm not gonna do that. The one thing about that is though, is like celebrity kids. I don't know if they be thinking straight, bro, because like he said, like that could tarnish his, basically his name in a different way, and you never know how you'll end up, down the road, the relationship with your parents, and when you look back at it and y'all become extremely close, like that's going to be a stain on your relationship. So you got to be careful what you put online these days against a person who has been, criticized a lot by the public already. So, I don't know, man. I might bake something and take it over there. Make sure he cheers.
Give him a hug. Bring some Asian.
I forgot that whole story.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You can get some egg rolls. Bring some egg rolls over there or something.
Here you guys go. See, you trying to get us canceled, Marquis. Me and Baylor been trying to behave, man. But Marquis, what do you make of this situation?
Yeah, I think as a father, I feel bad for him. You have to address your child in public. Like, I mean, I'm not afraid to whoop my kid's ass in public, but motherfuckers coming at me on my timeline because you want to make yourself look credible. I don't know. As a father, we always notice that he's in beef for shit. It's really irrelevant beef. Like, but that's hurting. That just hurts. So I feel bad for the dude. And anytime someone has to backtrack, that should tell you right there. You know what I mean? Right away, that should be like, this is the end of it. Case closed. We're canceling you because you chasing clout. It's bullshit. So yeah.
Fair enough.
Next.
For me personally, it's one of those things like, yeah, you see it as a parent. And to Mary's point that she made earlier, you get tested completely differently once your kids become teenagers. It's a completely different thing. And, for people who are parents but haven't had to parent teenagers yet, just hold your horses. Like you'll see it sooner rather than later. Because I'll tell you what, I've done pretty good at not having to beat my children because they listen to me for the majority of their life. But there are times, especially that 6'14" I got, where I just have to be like, look, I will punch you in your chest just to prove a point. Shut up. So like, it's a completely different test. And then I can only imagine how much more that is when they're in the public eye. Children with the silver spoon, even though I don't know how much of a silver spoon Benzino is providing, but that's a story for a different day. But let's get into this next one.
It might be copper.
Yeah, there you go. Whatever you want to call it. Next topic that we got up. The Game has been accused of conning SoundCloud rappers out of money. Now, this story was it's funny, but it's not, right? Because we know how difficult it is for artists, especially artists starting out, to not only crack that glass ceiling, but then on top of that, really make money off of this. So apparently what Game is doing is that he promotes that he will post music from SoundCloud rappers on his SoundCloud account, but he doesn't post it on his main SoundCloud account. He posts it on a side account that isn't really linked to him, and it only has 266 followers, and he is taking between $500 and $1,000 in exchange to post this on his SoundCloud. This is just yucky. That's the technical term, and you would expect better from somebody like Game being someone who I think we forget was signed to Aftermath for years before he was able to break through. You would think that he would kind of understand the plight of an artist trying to gain that traction. So that just seems a little bit weird to me. I'm coming to Baylor first on this one. This dude's from your neck of the woods, Baylor. Take this one away.
No, you're not coming to me first. So is this verified? This is actually true?
Yeah. For all of that. And that's the thing. My mind first went to, okay, are they sure they were talking to Game? Like, is it somebody who was posing as Game to get this money? That's what my mind first went to. But it seems like this may have been, of course, Game is going to come out and admit that he's done it, but at least I read this on Complex. I read this on a couple of different hip hop sites too. So like, usually to me, like my gauge is if Complex reports on it, then usually there's some truth to it. Maybe that could be wrong, but that's just kind of my personal gauge on what I look at after I see something on a different site.
I mean, look, honestly, I can see it happening, not because he doesn't need the money, but because that's the game. He'll do some shit like that, and it's like, well, what are you going to do? And then he's going to drop a diss song. I'm just saying, it's a messed up situation because, obviously, we already know how crowded the rap game is now. Everybody's dropping music these days, and for people to earn money and then think they're putting it towards a great opportunity. Yeah, that's messed up. But at the same time, I think it's the game. It's the game. I wouldn't say like I expect that from him, but it's like I'm not surprised.
All right.
So
All right, Marquis, what do you think?
Take him to court.
They have to have a class action suit. I mean, amount of legal fees to get $5,000 to $1,000. How many rappers did he screw over? Because I mean, if it's like, if it's $1,000 and there's 30 of them, that's $30,000. That's something. But I don't know. Then how do we know how much money he has? So does he need the money? I don't know. I don't know. We gotta stop doing the shit to our people and putting ourselves out there like that and getting in the headlines because we just make it bad for ourselves. And he on Clubhouse too. I bet he hit most of the people up on Clubhouse. Did anybody holler at him on a Clubhouse? Like, come on, man. He's a notorious Clubhouse personality. I don't know. I hope it's unfounded, honestly, but like Rayla said, when I saw it, I was like, yeah, that might be game.
Yeah.
Game running game.
Yeah. Mary, what do you think?
Much like everyone just said, it's not surprising. So let's see how that plays out. I mean,
yeah, what sucks though is that this is probably one of those things we never get a follow-up story for. Like I can completely see this disappearing. Like, and that's what sucks because it's like shit like this needs to be exposed. But you know what? It is what it is. That it's like you guys said, that's the game. Let's move into this verses that we got. D'Angelo and Friends, and I don't have anything positive to say about this. Mary is really, really high on this. So Mary, I'm just gonna turn this one over to you and give it to the people. Mary? All right.
You can hear? Mary.
Married to the office.
Paige and Mary. Mary said, you know what? I don't want to talk about this shit either. I'm gonna get the fuck up out of here.
So I'll tell you this.
Okay.
I watched it. I have a few things to say about it. Scratch, did that thing. Like I love the way he opened up the intro, and I watched it off the strength of Mary basically saying, it was dope. So I watched the recorded version of it. I'm going to say a few controversial things, but can he sing? Out of curiosity.
You said, can he sing?
Yeah, can he sing?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Come on,
Yeah,
D'Angelo.
You asking if he can still sing, or you saying historically
No,
can he
if he
sing?
can sing, period.
Oh yeah,
Can he
D'Angelo
sing,
can
period?
sing.
That's subjective to me when it comes to singing. What I've learned is that is very subjective to people.
Okay. Okay.
So I mean, don't get me wrong. I hear where you're coming from because there's some artists where you was like, no, that's under. She has a voice. He has a voice. But when it comes to other artists, they might need some help or whatever the case may be, and you might not find out till later down their career that they had help. Um, Honestly, I can tell you because I've never seen D'Angelo sing live.
um, he sings in falsetto, right? It's falsetto, right?
Yeah.
He's always singing in falsetto, and it's always like overdub. The performance, the guest appearance was cool. That her performance was probably my favorite. Well, nothing really matters. If anybody's gonna substitute Lauryn Hill, all right, her, I can give it to her.
Reports is that
It was
Lauryn Hill
okay.
was supposed to show up, and she just got there
Mm.
today.
I believe that too.
Dare I say, that's his best song.
I can't
I
argue
think
that.
that's his
I
best
can't
song
argue that. I can't argue it.
catalog. And I was like, let me just that song. I don't know. So listening to D'Angelo, a full stage, and again, the intermission, the breaks, it's just always these awkward intermissions that just make it almost unbearable. So I like when they tell stories in the middle of it, like this is what inspired that. That's what I like. There was breaks here, just like yeah, so Harlem's my second home and everything. Again, I like the guest appearances. I like the vibe. And again, I know Eric, you're going to jump on this one, and you missed a little bit of what we said, but one of the points I brought up, Mary, I think the best song he has is "Nothing Even Matters." Period. Out of all his songs, so that's it. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, lucky for you guys, I have lots to say about this. So first of all,
Or you can
let's
get on.
start with, and I don't know if you touched on that because I went out for a second, but I don't know, was this thing poorly promoted? Because I feel like everybody forgot about it.
Everything about this was done poorly.
Okay, well, but let's start with everyone forgot. Like I feel like I reminded everybody about it. Like everyone that I know. I have a friend who was my college roommate, who every verses she has a Zoom, and I literally watched the verses with her and a group of other dope women on this Zoom, and like she forgot about this. It was not even scheduled. Like I had to remind her.
Who you still
What?
yet to meet, Hayes? Sorry.
Oh yeah.
No, it was not. It's not them.
I know. I'm just saying, there's a
34
lot of dope women.
days and counting.
Oh, just stop. It's not them. Anyway, so yeah, I feel like everyone forgot about it for starters, and that was, that was a bummer. But I will say, honestly, the real MVP for me was DJ Scratch. For those of you who caught the opening, I'm not even like my party days are, over before even COVID. But COVID definitely made me feel like, yeah, I'm not going nowhere even when this shit opens in terms of being in a packed club, grinding on people and whatever. But DJ Scratch's opening set made me like, yo, where's the party at? Like, where am I going right now? Because it truly was everything.
Word.
So I will something special. Honestly, it felt like we witnessed something special with that. I will say it was very disappointing that Lauren was not there to do Nothing Even Matters because, like you said, Marquis, that is one of his best tracks ever. And, you know, I really stayed to the end thinking Lauren was going to be herself and show up maybe at the end of the shit. But no, didn't happen. But it was cute to see her kind of do some verses from his song, Nothing Even Matters. And then he did some of You're the Best Part. That was her song. So that was dope. It was disappointing that. Hold on. Sorry, I had to yell at my kids for a second. It was disappointing that he was not really singing in parts of most of it. It was kind of like a weird lip singy kind of then singing along with the track thing. And also, what the fuck was he wearing? I mean, he looked like Snuffleupagus. Like, I don't know what that was. And yes, all the ladies were secretly waiting for him to do a little Untitled moment at the end and take off that travesty of a coat he was wearing. And it's like, no, that didn't happen either.
I don't think it should.
Some letdowns. but I was entertained. But again, you had to have been a D'Angelo fan because it was truly like an unplugged without him even really singing. But it was like an appreciation of all of his bodies of work. And I appreciate his bodies of work. So it worked for me.
Okay.
Sorry for being long.
So, no, you're fine. So this is my question then. Because this is this what people are looking forward to when they go into a versus? And then how much does that hurt the brand overall? How much does that hurt it continuing? And like we keep saying, what is the future of versus? This can't be it. At least that's my personal opinion, because like this whole thing felt more like a concert. Now, if you wanted to put on a D'Angelo presented by Versus concert, all right, do that. But to label this as a versus, this was not that at all. There was nothing that was in the vein of what we have come to know Versus as, and that's what bothered me in this. That's what came off as disingenuine, and then like having him in that hot ass coat doing the same fucking two-step the whole fucking night. It was like, come on, man, this is not what we signed up for. Baylor, what do you think? I know you didn't really watch the verses, but what do you think just about that aspect of like this being more of a concert than what we come to have known as what verses is?
I agree with you just said. And I'm the first one to raise his hand and say, look, this shit is going down the drain. At the same time, I still think it's a dope idea. Only was it the fact, and I get it, because it's not what we're used to, but was because of the artist that they selected. Because if they would have selected, let's just say, and I know I'm reaching here, if it was Nas and Friends, will we be upset at that?
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, because we've been waiting for Jay-Z.
Of course, Marquis.
But still, the end result would have been something dope, yeah. I think.
If he would have pulled off, he could have brought out the same people. But if the main attraction was Nas, I don't think we're complaining that much. And I think I would have remembered.
But what I think what Hayes is trying to say is, if it was presented to us as Versus presents, Nas and Friends versus Nas versus Friends kind of thing. You know what I mean? It wasn't brought to us that way, because I was expecting. We were actually thought it was going to be music. We thought it was going to be Maxwell. We were assuming the Friends were going to be these people that he's versing. You know what I'm saying? So
I get that part. I get that part because they had all of us fooled, but at the same time, I think the idea was still brilliant. I just think they might have had the wrong artist. Again, we can go back to Lauryn Hill. If it would have been Lauryn Hill and she actually got there on time,
no,
I don't think nobody would have. I don't think nobody would have.
She just got there, bro. She's ready to go right now. She is there. She just pulled up. She's waiting on the cameras to come.
She was supposed to.
And it's two things.
So is that called Lauryn Hill and whoever's running?
Wait, no. Here's my thing. Here's my thing. I don't think it's just who the artist is. The presentation also matters, but then they also need to get off this 20-track thing, because they've almost run the gamut of people who have 20 tracks. And we'll talk about what's coming through the
I definitely agree with that. I think the 20 tracks should only go to promising
yeah,
artists,
like
legendary
Yeah.
it had this been presented as D'Angelo and friends, like I said, presented by Versus. He comes on, he does 5 to 10 with some guests and some appearances and gets the fuck out. Okay, there's not really much room to be disappointed in that. But you try to fill a full Versus time slot with something, an artist who doesn't have enough material by himself alone, and then you don't even give him anybody else to play off of, really. You give people to come, and like, I feel like they knew this was going to be so weak, and that's why, like, you had Red and Meth, you had her, like, that's why you had that, is because they knew this was going to be weak. And they didn't, I don't feel like they changed it enough. They put D'Angelo in the bad space. They put their fans in the bad, like, this overall to me was just bad work. Period.
Can
I
I
have
say
two things
something
to
about
say.
Okay,
Go
go ahead. No, you
No,
got
you
it.
go, Leila.
Okay, I go. I was gonna say something about the marketing. You how Mary said she was reminding people and things like that. That's not her job. That's their job to
Yeah.
promote it throughout the dry spell. You know what I mean? And I think that's where they fell at, because I see the text message. They was like, "Yo, the verses is going on." I'm like, "Yo, I'm really playing basketball right now. I kind of don't care." But that's on verses. They need to fix that. Again, I agree with you, Hayes. At the same time, I strongly believe that if it was a different artist, you probably would have still been thinking that, but you would have been satisfied.
But the reason is he has 3 albums and probably 35 songs. You know what I mean? Like like Mary said, he has a core audience.
But
He has
Mary
a
just
core
said you
audience.
have to be a fan of him, though.
Yeah.
You picked an artist who
You
has
did.
a loyal fan base, and that's it. It's that bubble. So if you'd have chose Nas, you'd have chose Maxwell, you'd have got a much better.
Okay. So wait, stop right there. And a lot of people may not know this, but Swiss and Tim always have like a little live after every show, and they kind of reveal little things. So that verses was supposed to be Maxwell and D'Angelo on Valentine's Day.
Oh wow.
So that would have been something, but I don't know. I guess Maxwell couldn't commit for whatever. They didn't get into why it didn't happen, but that's what it was supposed to be.
So it could have been an audible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what she's saying. It was an audible.
Obviously, clearly.
Yeah.
That would have resurrected the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's and even then though, honestly, 20 tracks is still too much for those two artists.
20 tracks is still too much, but I gotta say, I have to apologize if that's true. Then they had to do what they had to do on such short notice.
But one thing I want to say is that Hayes, I think if you ever were searching for affirmation that they don't know they don't even know what the strategy is for what's to come of verses, this was kind of it, right? It was like, let's just try something new. Like, I think they're kind of throwing paint at the wall and kind of seeing what sticks.
And I think, okay, so as we get closer to this pandemic being over, and I can't remember which one of you guys, maybe it was kind of a collective thing. Like, this versus thing, maybe it needs to go to being live and being the two artists live and like with fans, and you can feed off that energy or whatever they can do there. Because the world opening back up, and if this is the best that they have for us, it's not going to be the hit that it once was. It's just not going to be.
No. And I mean, I don't know what numbers were reported, but what I saw, and I looked at it on IG Live, it was like it didn't get past 150,000, which to me is a far cry from what the others were doing. So
can I ask the room this? If what Hayes said earlier about it basically being a concert, if that was a concert and we were able to attend, is that a hit?
I would have enjoyed it, but I was a D'Angelo like super fan back in those days. Like, that Voodoo album was on repeat for me. So
I mean, I think it would have been a hit if you can go live, but it was like a smaller venue. Like, yeah, if you show up a night with D'Angelo, I can get some wings and a couple of drinks. Kind of spend an hour and a half there.
Oh my
Sign
God,
me up.
he said the wings, not even a fillet stick. He said wings for D'Angelo.
Yeah, D'Angelo
I can't see myself licking my fingers. If I'm D'Angelo and I'm out there,
no, I think D'Angelo. I think a D'Angelo menu is some wings and like dark liquor.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Really?
No,
I think
because
D'Angelo's more of a wine
no.
vibe than
No.
dark
I
liquor.
I
I don't
I
think
for sure do my wine.
Right?
yo, there would be no dudes there. There would be more women and the
It would
dudes that
be
are with them.
couples.
No dude is going to go see D'Angelo by himself. You understand?
Right. Not by himself, but you go with your chick.
With the girl, exactly. That's why
Right.
I'm like, you're not going to see a lot of wings and
I mean, not for nothing. The Valentine's
cognac.
idea was
If
a good
this
idea.
was
The Valentine's,
if
that
this
would have
was a
been the
con-
perfect vibe for that.
Perfect.
That would have been perfect.
Perfect.
Like, imagine going out, spending an evening with your significant other, and coming back and watching D'Angelo versus Mac. That's like the perfect nightcap, because at that point,
Yeah.
we're liquored up. We've probably eaten. We know what happens
Right.
next. This is a perfect thing.
Light some candles.
Yeah. That's it.
we going
Yeah, it was a huge missed opportunity.
Hayes. What happens next?
So we're going to go ahead and head into our first break for this evening.
Hayes didn't get all them kids by
Eating
accident.
that butt.
The next verses. How do y'all feel about?
Oh yeah. The next verses. So Raekwon, Ghostface Killer is going to be the next verses. Listen here. That's a hard liquor. That is I'm
Yeah. That's Henny. That's pushing
so
whoever's
you
in the
know-
living room with you.
yeah.
So you know what verses did, right? You know what verses you know what they did with this
What?
one? They basically said, "Oh, my bad. That was a foul call. Here's your foul." That's basically what they did.
And it's perfect. Like you rebound from this with two artists who have amazing chemistry. You know you're gonna get great banter. You're gonna get the storytelling. You're gonna get like the synergy between this. Like their music goes hand in hand. So it's gonna be a vibe. Like, and even if the audience is smaller, it's going to be like the people who are showing up for this versus knows what the fuck they're getting into, and they can't. This is a can't miss versus. This is you can't miss this.
This would be great marketing. This would be great marketing if the show was dropping like right after that.
Yeah. So what Mary? This is your people. What did you were you excited when you saw that this was dropping?
For sure. Actually, how I found out about it was from Raekwon's little brother. So yeah, like everyone's excited in the camp. For real.
Yeah.
I just have one question.
Mm-hmm.
How many songs are Raekwon going to pull off without the artists that are guest featuring? The songs that are
none. No, it was probably about
Rainy Days.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm wondering if Woo joints count too.
They have to, right?
How many Raekwon songs do we have by himself? Because there's a lot of Ghosts by himself. There's not a lot of Ray songs by himself.
Oh no, Ray doesn't have a lot of songs by himself. Okay, so let me ask you: does the rest of the Woo show up and they perform the Purple Tape?
What does that smell like?
Nah, it's got to be. I mean, because Ghost is gonna shine. Ghost gonna shine. Like he got.
That's how they end the night.
Can we guess what color?
That'd be dope.
Can we guess what color robe he gonna wear?
It ain't gonna be pink. Killer Camp. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Let's see. I mean, I definitely think, but again, this is another one of those verses though that are for a certain age. You know what I mean? Like they've lost the youngins. After they fucked up the Keisha Cole Ashanti one, that was the one that Gen Z was tuning in for.
For sure.
They've lost them now.
I mean, this is a throwback. Like this is a throwback to the beginning of verses. This is what like the purest hip hop heads are gonna show up for, and we're gonna have fun. We're gonna be drunk. We're gonna be fucked up. I'm probably gonna be in the group chat acting the goddamn fool when some of these tracks come on, and that's what the night's supposed to be.
I think he gonna wear like a white robe with like gold trimmings. I think he gonna have like the Iron
eagle,
Man
the eagle.
Yeah, with the eagle, or the Iron Man mask. He gonna have some shit.
Yeah, definitely. He may come out with an actual eagle.
He would.
He might come out with Robert Downey Jr.
Oh shit!
Stop.
All right.
He come out with Robert Downey Jr., bro. Just chalk it up. Chalk it up. That's the best one.
We're going to get into our first break. When we come back, we are going to actually be doing a retrospective on the Black Album. This was highly anticipated from last week. Marquis got hot takes. We'll be right back after this. Dun, 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 dun. And we're back from break.
I don't know why.
I gotta find a better. Now that we like do live shit, I gotta find a better way to transit. Like the breaks work when it's just the podcast and after the fact, but like now it doesn't work as good. So I got to figure out something out there.
Man, that shit stuck in my head. I'm gonna do that before I record one of my episodes. I was like that.
I do that shit all the time. Like, bro, that is literally my palate cleanser. I do that shit all the time. All right. So last week we started talking about the Black Album. I don't even remember what conversation it came up in or how we got there, but we did. Marquis brought up the fact that he does think that the Black Album isn't as good as what we remember it for. And it was kind of a product of great marketing riding off the back of it being announced as Jay-Z's last album. So let's talk about it. The Black Album. Does it hold up as a classic, or is this a product of the marketing? Marquis, I'm gonna let you present your argument first because I feel like more people on this panel are against it rather than for it. So I want you to have the stage to present your full case, and then we'll break it down. Go ahead.
I'm gonna ask this one question. Did anybody listen to this album recently?
I listened to it this week.
Yep.
This week. Okay. You still feel it's a classic?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay. So here's my take on it, and I'll say this: I know why it's better than I initially presented it as, because I used to call it the Brown album, but it's still nowhere near a classic, and I'll tell you why. All right. The album is retrospective. December 4th, he's talking about, it's a great story, introduction of who he is, because this is an album basically saying this is birth to death. So I'm going to tell you from the beginning, I was born here because this is my album, I'm going to retire, right? He went to What More Can I Say? And a few of the songs, but the first the songs after that are still referencing Nas. Like, he's still responding to Nas 2 albums later. I don't understand that. Like, you should have been past that shit already. When he's talking about bigging up his brother, he's basically referencing when Nas said, how many Biggs rhymes going to come out your fat lips? Though I swear, the letter, the way he's presenting himself, it sounds like a private letter to us as a case to Nas, a response to him. One of the joints he said, I haven't been rhyming like common sense, right? This had me thinking. If you listen to his catalog, the only album that he actually put forth that much lyrical exercise was Reasonable Doubt. And after that, it was below normal standard of what Jay can present. Like, he dumbed it down.
Wasn't what that line meant. That's what the whole line meant.
But what does that say?
He said I did 5 mics, so I haven't been. It was a backhanded compliment, to tell you the truth.
Okay, then. What does that say? He basically said, I'm going to do this to sell records. I'm going to dumb it down. I'm not going to contribute, put my full lyrical content in it to dumb it down because you're going to buy the record. So he's not promoting what true content should be to me. 99 Problems. Okay. If it wasn't for that beat, whack. I'm sorry. That beat made that song. If you listen to that song, I even listened to the acapella. I'm like, yeah, it's the beat. The beat made that song. You can say whatever you want. Justify My Thug.
What about it?
I'm going to leave that right there. Again, in 99 Problems, going back there, he referenced Nas again. Lucifer, Allure, I love those. Those are my shits. But yeah, I still give it 3.5, 4. It's better than I thought because my initial response, and here's the thing, my expectations of Jay back then were really fucking high. Like, and I wasn't one of those people, I was a Nas fan or a Jay fan. I was a hip hop fan. And I loved where Jay was coming from. Then he did the Big Willie thing and kind of changed up the swagger. And it seemed like he took the safe route. And then when he picked the fight with Nas, it was like I had to prove something. And it just went left for me with that. And again, I'm more of that I'm about content. I'm about lyrics. I'm about direction. I'm about leading the culture, taking it in a different in the direction it should be. I didn't think he took the baton and moved on with it. That's where I'm at with it.
Who wants to take the first rebuttal?
That was your argument. That was your argument.
That's my start. I got
Okay.
some. Go ahead.
I just
All
have
right.
no comments for this. The Black
So
Album holds a special place for me, so I'm not
Okay,
even.
let me because I feel like Baylor's gonna go in. So let me just get this off, and then let me let the dog off the leash because I feel like Baylor's gonna take this one and run with it. The Black Album, to me, going back and listening at it to this day, it feels like it's somebody taking a look at their career and admitting where they went wrong at, where they could have done better at, where he like it's a story that's told throughout that. And it was, and we hadn't got Jay this open again until 444. This was the most introspective we had gotten Jay at that point. And so when you look at somebody who is at the top, regardless of what you feel about the music or if he could have did it better lyrically or whatnot, he was at the top of his game at this point. I went to the tour. I went to this tour with this when he was touring with 50 Cent. I like Jay at that point in time could almost do no wrong. And to hear him have an album where he told a story throughout it, this is absolutely a classic album for me. If you take away the retirement piece, and even back then, I went back and looked, there were some people who even speculated that at that point he was going to come back and this was just a marketing thing to say it was his last album. I think the thing that hurts this album the most, admittedly, is this is the most the less synergy he had, the least amount of synergy he had between his production on any one of his albums because he worked with a different producer on each one of the songs, and you feel that throughout it. It feels like different bits and pieces, but I feel like that plays into it because the way that I look at the Black Album is that this is the last entry of Jay's diary, and when you're trying to just get everything out, maybe it's not cohesive, and that's how I look at this album for me, and it's always going to hold a special place in my heart.
Okay.
Baylor,
go ahead,
get him.
All right, so I look at this is the greatness of Jay-Z is that when you look at the producers on this album, you can hear the production from those particular people. So when you listen to, let's just pick Justify, or you said Justify My Thug, that's Quick. When you hear Moment of Clarity, that's Eminem. You could hear that in that production, you can hear Eminem in that. The greatness of Jay-Z is that he took all of these producers with his style and rapped on their production. That was that in itself. There were about 12 songs on here, 13 if you include the intro, but 12 tracks. Out of those 12 tracks, bro, I can do without, and when I say I can do without, that doesn't mean that I don't really like it. That means the other song was just fucking phenomenal. My last song, I didn't really care too much about it, but if you turn it on, I know that's a fucking J track. Outside of that, everything else was a fucking, in the younger kids' term, was a fucking bop, right? Then you said, I and I don't even think it's I don't even think it's a popular view because it went 3 times platinum, Marquis. 3 times.
So
Just
that's
here.
what quantifies classic?
Just here.
Because it
Just
went 3
here.
times platinum?
Well, what else would you define it?
I mean, Bone Thugs and Harmony went platinum. Like, that doesn't
Do
make
not
it a
mention them on
classic.
this
So
show.
what are you saying? So what are you saying about Bone?
Don't
Oh my
ignite
God.
hate.
It's not my point is you can't say just because an album went multi-platinum that it's a great album. That there's so many albums that went multi-platinum that are
But
trash. Come
for
on.
this to be quote unquote his worst album, and
No,
it
I
still
didn't
went
say
three
it was his.
times.
No, this is not his worst album. I didn't say that.
Is it the bottom of the barrel?
Okay, this is a
How?
whole other conversation. Hold on. There are a few doozies he got. He got a few doozies.
I'm with you on that one, but I'm asking you where
No,
is
this
this?
is not. This is probably in the middle of the road for me. Probably be in the middle for me.
And you're telling me, okay, so the fact that he was quote unquote subtweeting Nas.
Not subtweeting. Not subtweeting. He was still responding to that Nas battle.
And guess
2
what?
albums
He
later.
was responding to another legend. Okay, so these niggas got egos.
Albums later. Why you still responding? You lost the battle already.
Wait, because this nigga is not a fucking robot. He's human. And the cool part about it, the shit that he was responding, it was fucking dope.
Come on, and let's be fair here. Let's be fair here.
Wait. What was dope?
Nas referenced Jay-Z just as much as Jay was at that time as well.
No,
yes.
No. Not then. Not 2000.
Please, when did Braveheart's Quick to Back Down drop? Because he's still referencing Jay-Z in that.
Same year. Whoa. That wasn't him. That was his brother. That was Jungle.
No. Go back and listen to Nas's verse. Y'all already know who I'm better than. He was referencing Jay-Z.
That was 2003?
That was probably later than 2003, if that.
That's easy. That was easy.
We don't have a timestamp on that.
Last time Nas referenced Jay as a so-called diss was when he did Hip Hop Is Dead, when he explained the story why he had to kill Jay. And that was then. Then this 2 albums after the Blueprint 2, then the Black Album, he's still referencing Nas, right? Okay. We're telling a story. This is his life story. December 4th, what more can I say? Encore. Word. Change clothes. Dirt off your shoulder.
Nas and Bravehearts featuring Lil Jon dropped in 2003. Nas was still referencing Jay in 2003.
Okay, in the beginning, right? Was that a real reference? Because there's 4 songs right here. He's referencing.
Come on
Nas.
now, bro.
Okay,
you're just trying to defend your point at this point.
Hold on.
I'm past the whole reference part. What does it matter though?
That's what I just said. If you're saying that this album was his life's work, 4 or 5 of those tracks reference Nas. Okay, bearing. Nas ripped a hole in his heart. Okay, true. So, again, is that a song that references where we should be in this story of ours?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a bone here. Change Clothes is probably my least favorite off of that album.
Threat?
And it's definitely commercial.
Threat.
Like,
you didn't like Threat? Why you didn't like Threat?
I like Threat.
You didn't like Threat because Cedric and the Entertainer, or you didn't like the song? Why? What was bad about it?
Lyrics. The song was okay. Never mind.
So again, it didn't make. To me, so you saying this point in his life, he shouldn't be making tracks called Threat. And on top of that, he made a track called Threat, and it didn't sound good.
The song wasn't good. That's all I'm saying. No matter what he called it wasn't good.
Okay, I'll give you that. That's one track. What else you got?
Oh no, I'm sorry. Change Clothes. Threat.
Don't try to take Mary. Don't try to take Mary track, nigga. Pick the track that you want.
I'm the one who opened that up. She just said, "I'll give you that."
Okay.
Change Clothes. Threat. Justify My Thug. And again, like I said, if it wasn't for the production, 99 Problems.
99. That's come on, bro. We're not gonna do that.
There you go. Again, like I said, to me, it's better than I initially said. It's still not a classic to me. I put it in the middle of his catalog.
You got me fighting
for
it, nigga.
And
I got Nas. That's 4 out of
14.
That's not really 14 songs. No, it's not really 14 songs.
Okay, you're not counting the interlude.
No,
so 4
clearly.
out of 13 are trash to you.
And wasn't public service announcement more like an interlude?
You don't want to do
that.
Right, you don't want to do a public service announcement.
I was about to say, come on now, bro.
Because he could damn near open up any show. He can open up the fucking Oscars with that.
Yes, I agree.
Again, I said it's not as bad as I initially felt it was. To me, it's still 3.5 out of 5. It's still better than I initially said it was because I hated the album when I first heard it. And again, it was my expectation.
You just said 4. You said 4 tracks. You said 4.
Hold on. And here's why. To me, again, I'm a Jay fan. My expectations may be unrealistic because he did tell you he dumbed it down. That year was a major year for albums, and for him to close the year out at the end. Remember, you had Get Rich or Die Trying came out. Speaker Box, Dangerously in Love, whatever. Meteora, Muse came out. Chocolate Factory. I'm not.
You comparing it to Get Rich or Die Trying? That was 50
motherfucking
album.
Tell me that's better than Get Rich or Die Trying.
No, you're not hearing what I'm saying. You're comparing Jay's second three-peat to a nigga first season.
He came at the tail end of some great albums, so he was gonna close the season out for me. I heard this album, I was like, I'm good. Thank you. I'm glad you retired.
Jesus, man.
I felt when he came.
Wow.
That's how I felt when that album came out.
Jesus.
Again, right now, in retrospect, I admit that the album is much better than I initially said it was. It's still in the middle for me. I have other Jay-Z albums that I would put in front of that. That's all. It's not his worst. It's nowhere near his worst. Blueprint 2 is his worst.
Wait, you got
Jesus,
Blueprint 2
Lord of
lower than
Christ.
Kingdom Come?
We're not even gonna have
I
that
know he
conversation right
likes
now.
Kingdom Come.
We're not gonna have that
Like,
conversation.
to him,
That's where
he's
he grew
the
up.
only one.
No, I'm not the only one.
Kingdom Come is
That
fucking
one.
garbage.
I'm sorry. Kingdom
Yeah,
Come and
I
it went
felt
triple
like that was
platinum.
also-
It doesn't. I don't care
Triple
about
platinum.
numbers. I'm just talking about pure
That's
quality.
Baylor. That's Baylor right there.
I don't give a damn about numbers. That Kingdom Come is such a fucking horrible ass. Like, and it's funny because I remember an interview before Jay-Z retired, and he said, I when he was asked if he's coming back, he's like, I have Jordan as a blueprint to know I don't need to come back. That Kingdom Come album was Jordan's was the Wizard season of Jordan's career. I don't even want to talk about Kingdom Come. That shit was fucking trash.
When's the last time you heard it?
Last time I think about 4 years ago is probably the last time I tried to go back and listen to it.
Well, I think
Again.
didn't we like a year ago or something rate all of Jay's albums?
We ranked all of Jay's albums. See,
But did
We
you
might
listen to
do it
Jay's album
again,
before you?
but-
ranked
no,
it?
we
I would love to see
didn't
that.
yet. Kingdom Come's fucking trash, man.
You said that. I mean, I remember Source giving it 4.5 mics, but that's just me.
Trash.
Mhm.
Trash.
Didn't Benzino kind of cope?
No, that wasn't then. Nope.
I'll go ask
That
him.
wasn't then.
Yeah, that is when Benzino
That was
owned the
after Benzino.
source.
Yeah, he
Nope.
did.
2016.
No,
No,
2016?
No, it was
That was
2016.
I was about to say.
No. When Tim got 5 mics, that's when Benzino owned it. Kingdom Come came after that album.
Don't matter. I don't care who owned it. That shit is trash. Don't give two fucks. I don't care. I don't give a damn. Rick Rubin, fucking Russell Simmons, everybody could fucking had owned the source. This shit, they all fucking tripping if they gave that shit 4.5 mics. Fuck everybody who was on that publication at that point in time. It's just garbage.
So you said out of 12, 13 tracks, you didn't like 4 of them?
Yeah.
And it was a letter to Nas. All right, I'm with it.
All right, let's move on.
Cool. And by the way,
if those are the takes you took away from it,
let's move.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can.
We're off.
Okay.
But I would say this. I like Nas more than I like Jay. But this was a phenomenal project, bro. I don't get it.
I don't see where that came from. Again, I'm not comparing the two because Nas got some doozies too.
Well, Nas got more misses than Jay, and he has less albums than Jay. But
I don't know. We can do a comparison. I don't know. I can't say that.
Well, you don't like the Blueprint too, so
we're off of it. I haven't put a song on here for us to review, but we got so much shit ahead of us. We'll skip that one. It wasn't nothing major anyway. Next up, we got Black People Like Rock 2. This is Marquis' segment. I get to sit back and just let him host this shit. What you got for us this week, Marquis?
So yeah, I want to make this simple. One of the things I wanted to focus what rock means and how it inspires all of us. To me, you have your workout session, you have your hard, your Mobb Deep and you pissed off, or maybe you're working on some shit, listening to Marshall Mathers, LP, getting pissed at people, could happen. What bands get you amped? Like, can you name 3 bands that you would say are your favorite bands and why? So I'll ask you, all you 3 that when it comes to rock.
Rock. Okay.
Yes.
That's what I'm asking.
You
want me to go? Okay.
Yes.
Linkin Park.
Definitely.
That's rock, right?
That is rock, yeah.
My Chemical Romance. Let's think. What else? But it has to be a band, like a group of people.
It's rock. Whatever rock you wanna whatever you consider rock.
But it has to consist of more than one person, right?
It can be one. I mean, the White Stripes is 2 people. That's still considered a band. So.
But what if it's just one?
If it's rock, if that's what the genre is.
Okay, so how about this? I'll give you 2. So if I was going with just a single person, it would be Alanis Morissette. I fucking love her. Yes, that Jagged Little
That
Pill
works.
album was like my life.
Okay.
But if I'm gonna go with another band, we're gonna go damn Muse.
Mm. Mm.
Okay.
Okay. Any in particular reason why those three?
All right, I already spoke on Alanis Morissette. Linkin
Yeah.
Park honestly got me through like senior year of high school. I want to say, um, yeah, I can't get like I'll get emotional if I get too personal right now. But I was going through a lot of stuff that I surprisingly am still going through today. Literally today. And yeah, Linkin Park definitely spoke to me. Um, and My Chemical Romance, same thing. I mean, actually, like they weren't so deep, but I just really did rock out to them, you know. And their videos were dope, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Back when videos were videos in the 90s. And Muse, first of all, like I was obsessed with Twilight, read all the books. They were a huge part of all the Twilight soundtracks. So I think that's what got me into them. And yeah, I mean, they definitely touch my soul too. So
Okay.
yeah.
Baylor.
Dylan, and Dylan. No.
That's hip hop, bro. That's the greatest hip hop artist of all time. What are you talking about?
So I can't. So DMX acapella album don't count.
I mean, no.
Oh
No.
no. Honestly, I don't have a favorite band because I didn't listen to rock like that. But I mean, whatever familiar commercial songs that came on, I would probably
The
listen
final
to. But
countdown. It's the final count with the microwave and everything. Geico commercial. No.
I ain't.
Okay.
Again, I will keep. Shout out to Power and shout out to Snowfall. Let the bodies hit the floor.
Let the
Like
bodies hit the floor.
if that should come on, then I do act a certain way. Off of edible.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. My turn.
Sir,
All right.
CEO,
I'm gonna take it way left with my first pick. Deep Purple.
go for it. Mm.
Like just it's when you they went through so many different eras of rock and like they changed and evolved. Deep Purple for sure. They got to go high on the list. To Still Want to Marry's Linkin Park,
Okay.
absolutely. And I think for me, Linkin Park was when I started being okay being into like letting it be known that I was into rock music. Like Linkin Park was like that bridge that was like they talked about things that I wish some rappers had talked about at that point in time, so it was easy to kind of transition into it. And then I went so far left for my first pick because I know the people who are watching this probably aren't going to know who the fuck Deep Purple is, so I'm gonna bring it back for my last one. I know we're talking about bands, but I'm doing it as acts. Jimi fucking Hendrix, man.
Okay.
Like my uncle, shout out to my Uncle John, who literally plays just about every fucking instrument possible. He's a musical mastermind. But he has like some of his old album covers where he looks like Jimi Hendrix a little bit, but like legit every time that I like see him, and he still has his band to this day, and like they still rehearse and shit. Like I don't know, for some reason it puts me in the mindset of I have to go listen to Jimmy. And my daughter Alana, my younger daughter, she's really really into rock music, and she had brought up, she was like, "Daddy, why aren't there that many black people who do rock music?" And I got to introduce her to Jimi Hendrix. She loves it. So like that, Jimi Hendrix is. I know it's cliche for black people to go to Jimi Hendrix, but like the music holds such a special place in my heart that it's just like, and fuck, wrestling fans like. Like Hulk Hogan came out to Jimi Hendrix music when he was in NWO. Like you can't. Jimi Hendrix music. It can be placed in so many different periods of my life that it's just and be attached to so many different things that it has to be on my list.
Well, I have two things to say though, real quick.
Go for it.
One, let the record show. Black people originated rock music. We were just rock.
As we are of everything. We originated country music as well.
I wrote about it.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Secondly, I do want to name an honorable mention, and that would be Green Day.
Hey,
That
shout
New
out
Me
to Green
album
Day.
was like probably my last
Mm-hmm.
time in life
I actually
feeling
think I
like
had a couple of Green
carefree,
Day tracks. Yeah.
right? Eighth grade
Yeah.
for
Mm-hmm.
me, anyway. And
Yeah.
that was like a very good memory for me, a moment
A-
in time.
And
So
it seemed like they were on the soundtracks of
Yeah.
all of those
Yeah.
teen movies or some shit like that.
for real
Yeah.
though, yes.
Another special one for me is Queens of the Stone
So,
Age. I love Queens.
go ahead.
So
Wow.
I love them. Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not as well versed as y'all, but I do have a couple of tracks. But let me know. Is Green Day? Is
Mm-hmm.
that 21? Is 21 Gun
yeah.
Salute?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
21
yeah,
gun.
yeah.
Yep, that's them.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
See?
So, nah, this is huge for me, and this points out a lot. Um, which is why we talk about how our music is stolen from us and mass produced, which is what they're doing with hip hop, realistically. Now, we grew up listening to hip hop, and that expression that these rappers put out there to the masses, like, look, this is our struggle, this is our pain. Fuck the police. There's a reason why we're saying this. And then y'all sitting there dancing and making it commercial. This is why. It almost put us in the box though when it came to hip hop, because this is all you can do, and that music was expected to die. The thing about rock and any music that involves vocals, choruses, melodies, harmonies, there's a psychological feeling we get that happens to us, that resonates with us when we hear those melodies, and we're reminded, we're brought back to a moment or whatever it is. So when you listen to Linkin Park, he's screaming a pain that rappers can't do. You have a production, you have a sample, a jazz sample, what Guru would do with Premiere, but now you have a live instrument that can express that feeling. And that's one of the most important parts or of the psychology behind music when it comes to live instruments. And that's why you can relate to bands like that. And to point out mine real quick, I'm not going to put them in order. I'll tell you my favorite in a minute. Red Hot Chili Peppers. Red Hot Chili Peppers, first off, took one of Stevie Wonder's songs and made it funky.
Your sound, Marquis. No, okay.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Don't ask why that happened. Yeah, so they took all these different styles, ska and everything.
No, you're good.
I'm off again, aren't I?
No, you good. You good.
Oh, and he's gone. I don't know what happened. We lost Marquis on his own segment. Okay, let me present this. I'm trying to pick up the ball and keep running with it.
No idea. I'm right here.
Oh, he's
I'm
there.
here. My
He's
bad.
there. He's there.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So again, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Korn was the originator of nu metal. And the reason that Linkin Park and the rest of those Limp Bizkits and everything that exist is because of Korn. And that transition from that hard rock, the grunge, which Nirvana basically coined and went into that. And the last one is Tool. Tool's my favorite band. And I went to see, my CEO actually bought me for my birthday tickets to see Tool. Now, Tool's an experience. It's almost like that extension of Led Zeppelin when you have this arena rock and everything. And when he went to see it with me, I had to explain to him, when you watch Tool, they're all in different positions. You have a drummer, a guitarist, a bass player, and a singer. And the singer's not at the forefront. The singer's in the back. And I explained to him, they're all instruments. You can't look at it as a lead vocalist in a band. All of them are pieces of instruments. So there's long extensions of drum session solos, long guitar solos and everything. And the vocals are kind of in the background, and sometimes they'll appear in the front. But that's the experience of Tool. There's no one focal point. They actually wrote a song, and it's based on the Fibonacci sequence. And the Fibonacci sequence is in sevens. And every time it's like a spiral. Now, you have to be tripping some real shit to write this shit, but it's magnificent. It's actually called rock math, or it's fucking beautiful if you listen to it and go down with it. But honorable mentions, like you said, I'm sorry, Prince. You can say whatever you want, but Prince is probably the greatest, if not behind Stevie Wonder, the greatest musician to ever live. He's in that genre of rock, soul, funk. He did it all, but that's how I see it. And that's my take on rock. And I'm glad you black people like it too.
Absolutely. Let's get into.
Taylor might have to fight you on the Prince thing, but
what we saying?
You know I love him.
Game.
Oh, we did a bracket at one point in time, and yeah, Baylor has hot takes on Prince.
Don't you know be talking talking about my prince. I know you ain't talking about
Is
my
Baylor
prince, baby.
frozen?
If
Oh.
you got problems with the Black Album, there's nothing to talk about.
You got problems with Prince?
You can keep
Yeah.
that. You can keep that Purple Rain over here, and I'll keep this Black Album over here.
You got a problem with Purple Rain?
No, I said you can keep that over there.
Let's stop, because this is going
The
to turn into a
argument,
whole nother thing.
the argument.
Let's get into the next topic that we have for tonight, WandaVision. So, season finale is coming up at this point. One of the most interesting shows I think that I have ever watched. Who wants to take WandaVision, the review of the series thus far, first? Who wants to take this one away first?
I'll get the.
Who won it? Go for it. Okay, I'll do it. First off, and I'll say this. I'm a Marvel fan. I'm not one of the deep hardcore going to each layer of Marvel. Mm-hmm. This has to be one of the most creative avenues to take a show. Mm-hmm. If you think about if this was possible, let's just say that someone had this much power. This is how much pain this person went to create a whole world and torture everyone inside that world to resurrect the person that pain was ripped from her. You know what I mean? And no one was there to comfort her or say, that's fucking magnificent. For her to go to associate what she felt as a safe place, those 50 shows, those TV shows she watched when she was a young girl, and to make that her whole world to feel safe, that's fucking brilliant. The rumor of her husband, I'll leave that alone because I don't want to touch that one because I don't want to spoil anything. But I think the show was brilliant. It's much more than I expected. I thought I was going to see a love story or some Marvel things, which is cool and everything. This is on some deep level shit. There's so many layers to peel back here, and I'm going to dig in a little more to understand exactly why certain things happen, who the characters are, but more of the development and why they created this world for her. But I think it's magnificent.
All right, Mary.
So, I am a Marvel fan. However, I must say that Wanda and Vision were probably my least favorite characters out of all the Avenger movies. However, so I'll get kind of detailed for our audience, right? In the beginning, I was like, what the fuck am I watching? It was like, I think it was genius the way that they really unfolded the plot, right? Like in the beginning. And so I'm going to have to admit that like I listened to podcasts and watched some spoiler kind, not spoiler, but like theory kind of shows after that would reveal the Easter eggs for people who didn't really follow the comics as closely. And so watching those was very pivotal for me. So I'll say that. Like, I think everyone should kind of do that if they haven't. So in the beginning, yeah, it was definitely like, there were some Easter eggs that were missed on me. But when those were all revealed, it was like genius and beautiful the way that they really unfolded the story. I mean, honestly, my favorite character in this show is Agatha.
Shout out to Agatha
and Monica Rambeau, only because we're rooting for everybody black. But Agatha, it's. I feel like I need to go back and rewatch it. And I'm waiting for the finale to do so. But like really, when you go back and watch and see the character evolution of Agatha, it's kind of like, seeing that it was her all along is kind of dope.
Well, and that's a bit
not
misleading.
to give away total spoilers.
That's a bit misleading because it wasn't really Agatha all along. Because even when Agatha showed up, she showed up after the hex was already created. But I'm sorry, that's just my nerd.
She did, but then she observed and took over.
She hasn't taken over.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything else about that. But anyway, I think that this was entertaining. It was the way they kept true to the comic. I mean, even down to the twins, even down to what they're wearing, even down to Agatha's energy and aura being purple. Like there's so many little things that they really did kind of keep up with. I love it, but I have to say I'm really looking forward to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So
absolutely,
yeah, that's the one I'm waiting for here. So carry on. And I'm going to give my own theory. I don't know if Marquis, this is what you were gonna spoil, but it's my theory. It's not really a spoiler. I feel like the husband that Agatha or Agnes, whatever the hell her name is that we're using, she always talked of her husband, Ralph, and never showed him. And I think that he's Mephisto.
Mm.
And to add to that, I believe it's going to be played by Al Pacino.
That would be dope. But
That's a hot take. That's a hot take.
that is a hot take.
I like it. The one thing I took away from it is Marvel does it again, where they highlight characters that, for a person that doesn't follow Marvel like that, to even the nerds, they highlight these characters and they just bring like a spotlight to them. My wife had pointed out Agatha a while ago. She said it was something fishy about that lady. And I didn't catch on until later on. But my wife is, and she's not a nerd for Marvel at all. She's a casual fan. Um, and another thing was like Marquis said, it was brilliant how the sitcoms that she watched as a kid, she wanted to relive that whole experience with her husband. And I was the one that tweeted on Twitter, like, I would do the same thing for my wife. I would torture the world to bring my wife back.
That's deep. You said this before. I think I'm cutting you off, Hayes. You didn't say that before. Marvel has a way of bringing characters that are uninteresting to life. That is really true.
Right.
That is magnificent. Yeah, because like you said, Tony Stark wasn't an interesting character.
Yeah, he was a C-list character.
Yeah, I mean, so what they did that's so brilliant with this show, right, is that this story of Wanda and her grief has been there throughout every movie that she's been in, but it hasn't been highlighted. Like they haven't spent a lot of time focusing on her or Vision just because of, they appeared in Age of Ultron, which Ultron was always going to be the biggest part of the story there. She lost her brother there. We then transitioned from that to her becoming an Avenger and her being in Civil War and kind of causing the whole thing that created the Sokovia Accords. Then we get into she's now on the run. She spending time with Vision. They fall in love, whatever. They have that story. And then not only does she see him die once, but twice right in front of her. Then on top of that, she disappears shortly thereafter and then is faced with the guy who killed her husband. And then she loses Tony Stark and Captain America to a degree after that, both people who helped saved her. So like this show being built around grief and mental health and having somebody who is a hero and so powerful deal with a mental breakdown is something that I think resonates with everyone, whether we have superpowers be damned or not. So that's what Marvel has done so great with this show, is that they have built a show that, think about it, we haven't got one fight scene in this show yet. Now that's going to change in the finale, but in a comic book based adaptation, not one single fight scene, and the story has us so engaged, is a fucking masterpiece. And I can't see how anyone won't categorize this as a masterpiece. The one thing that I say that does hurt the show is that you can't, as great as the show is, you can't just hand it off to somebody who hasn't watched the Marvel movies and them not be like, you have to have seen almost like at least, because my friend JB, who I do a movie podcast with, I told him he wants to watch the show, and I said, you don't really have to watch every movie in every phase. If you can watch Age of Ultron, Civil War, and Endgame and
Endgame.
Yeah, you can pretty much piece together what's going on with Wanda right now. You may miss some bits and pieces of story threads, but it can catch you up to this show. You can't just give this show to somebody and say, here, just watch this amazing show. That hurts it. I think if you could, the show would be even bigger. This is the #1 show in the country. So, I mean, it's not like it needs it, but I think it could have been even bigger.
It is?
Yeah.
Really?
#1 show in the country.
But I have to tell you, watching those, like, I don't know, Easter egg uncovering kind of special, and they're like quick, but because again, I was someone who didn't follow those particular comic stories, and the correlations that they kind of make between those are pretty valuable too. So,
do you guys have like a highlight of, in one of the shows or something like that? Or something that stood out to y'all?
I would say the last episode only because it brought it all home. It just it we already knew she was grieving. Like they had planted those seeds very early on. Like it feels like grief. It feels like pain. I've been there. Like Monica explaining it. But the last episode really just it makes you feel for this woman. Go ahead.
I gotta take. One thing I had to look up. I believe the children can't exist without her seeing them. So, based on the story, she's supposed to make a deal with Mephisto to keep them alive. To exist without her, without them existing without her. You get what I'm saying? To bring them to life.
To Mary's point.
Right. And another theory is that they're really Mephisto is really their father.
So there's different adaptations of what happens with them in the comic books, but I think if you look at this, and I have this whole theory, I don't see this show ending with the children and Vision not being around. I think it ends in the opposite way. I think it ends with her needing to either sacrifice herself, getting trapped in another dimension or something. But when you look at it, everything that she's created in the Hex has been able to survive outside the Hex. Look at, for example, Monica's clothes.
But it's altered.
But yeah,
Monica's molecular chemistry has changed.
But
Vision can't.
We don't know. Here's the thing. Well, it's not that I don't think it's that Vision can't exist, because if he made it halfway out the Hex and people saw him
and then got pulled.
True, back. But I think that's what we saw. How he was created. He was created of her. So I think it's more of a proximity thing. He can't be where she isn't.
So what I think is going to happen is the White Vision.
Yeah, they're going to merge by the end of it. Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. Yeah, that's the only way he's going to be able to exist again.
Yeah.
That's all.
I mean, and they planted the seeds. Like if you look at like Monica, when the last time she went in the Hex, it separated and showed all the different versions of her, and then they came together before. It's going to be something like that. Like I people saying that this is, I just don't see Marvel ending this show with Vision dying a third time. Like I don't see it. It's narratively, it's boring if they do it that way.
At this point, it's like, stop, get off of here.
Exactly.
Like,
well, why is there only 9 episodes? That's a weird number for episodes.
Hey, who knows? Quicksilver playing her brother.
The last one is 6 sides to the Hex, right? So that's not it. Because the Hex is a big thing too, and that Hex shape is in more things than you really would realize. I gotta
underneath too, right?
It's literally been in Marvel almost since the beginning. The symbol of the Hex.
I'm wondering if 9 has significance.
And then the episode where they had the commercial with the Nexus, that's gonna play a big part into like what goes forward. Even I think the commercials tell us more than we think. Like I think the commercials was telling the story of the Infinity Stones for a while, but that commercial where it was the shark and the Yo Magic commercial, that told us what the show is about. When it's all said and done, so somebody's feeding off her magic. But go ahead.
Here's my fear. Because of this, I hope Falcon and the Winter Soldier lives up, because that's going to be pure action. This is a mind fuck. You know what I mean? I hope it lives up to that.
They're playing that in the trailers, but if the director of that series has said that they're going to play the theme is going to very, very heavily be why the government did not want a black man to be the new Captain America. So
and I'm in it.
So while the trailers are hyping up the action portion of it, I really don't think it's gonna. I think they're gonna subvert our expectations there as well.
Enough said.
Captain America is my favorite story in the Marvel universe. So, to me, it's
Captain America.
See, to me, it's the most believable. I mean, I'm a World War II buff, so I'll start there and with a bias. But listen, it was a confirmed fact that Nazis were performing scientific experiments on prisoners and motherfuckers to try to make super soldiers. Yeah. So it's more believable of a storyline than a lot of the others for me. And come on, I also feel like Captain America was the most politically woke or realistic as well. I mean, in the Civil War movie, he was literally he highlighted how back in his day, they knew what they were fighting for and against. Mm-hmm. And now it's like Hydra turning into S.H.I.E.L.D. basically, or spilling into it was if that was not art imitating life, I don't know what is. come on, look at our present times, and even the times when that was. I mean, it was like what, almost 10 years ago. Like it was like we don't really know what our or who our government really is.
Yeah, definitely.
So on that note, I have high expectations for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I wasn't gonna go that deep. I was just gonna say it was interesting that she had Quicksilver play her brother, and he mentioned that I'm not really your brother.
Well, he hasn't said that yet, but the same thing is that I think it's going to be some fuckery with that too. Everything that they've told us.
I thought he said that when they were at the what was that, the carnival?
Well, Vision said that, but Vision doesn't know much either. I mean, he doesn't know more than what anybody else knows.
But Agatha explained that she couldn't revive his body from, whatever, from
necromancy.
Yeah,
she was on the other side of the country.
She said his body was too filled with holes and whatever.
Yeah, and he was on the. It was in another continent. But the thing why I say I think there's going to be some fuckery with that is because while that may not be his original body, I still think that's him in that body. I think that's the way that is gonna, because the director again with this has said we'll be seeing Evan Peters in other things, so that's the actor's name. So
we do know, right, that Chris Evans is going to appear in some capacity as Captain America,
and so is Iron Man.
Yeah,
Robert Downey Jr. signed on again.
Team start
capacity, we don't know.
We'll see where that goes with. Let's get into we're running super long, so Marquis, we may not be able to get into your top 10 this week.
Oh, you didn't want that
one. Or we can skip Snowfall and bring Snowfall back next week. Which one do you want to do? I'll leave it up to the team.
Shit, I'm fine with either or.
I mean, me too, honestly.
I'm excited.
All right,
Snowfall is back, and I know this top 10 is this motherfucker crazy.
Yeah, all right. Well, because Snowfall is at the beginning of the season. We got plenty of time to talk about Snowfall. So we're going to take a break. We'll come back. We're going to get into Marquis' top 10.
Let me sit back with this motherfucker. I'm going to enjoy this right here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. If you thought this show was some fuckery up until this point, we're going to have some fun here. Marquis is going to give us something that it's been alluded to literally since the first time he joined this podcast. Marquis, what is your motherfucking top 10 MCs dead or alive?
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So before I give my 10, I'm going to tell you why they're my top 10. Now, the criteria for me are lyrics, content, influence, just pure artistry. All right. I'm going to mention them, and I'm probably not going to put them in order, but I'm going to go down the list. So here we go. And after reviewing this list, I had to make an adjustment, but this is my original top 10. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, KRS-One. The first hybrid rapper. Lyrics, battle rap, content, storytelling. He had it all. Undeniably, from BDP to his own solo, classic after classic. More influence. The motherfucker lived what he said. He went on stage and threw PM Dawn off the fucking stage. One of those dudes I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. The original gangster rap. Also, the mental education, pure.
Is this no particular order, or is this you starting from number 1?
I started from. I'll tell you when I broke off. That's my number 1. Okay. Rakim, number 2. I mean, let's be real. When it comes to lyricism, he's one of the reasons Nas exists. Which brings me to my next one. Nas, your rapper's favorite rapper. So those are the top 3 that I think are the greatest. Now, when it comes to my personal, number 4 is going to be Redman. There is no weaknesses. He has no weakness. He can do anything. He can tell a story. He originated that rah-rah shit. He danced in and outside of tracks. His entendres, his content, fucking amazing. Okay. Number 5, Eminem. And again, this is the point where I had the order. It's still there, but M is there. There's nothing that man can't do. even though his content at this point is boring, nobody wanted to pick a fight with him. People avoided fights with him. That's why he had to pick fights with people to show you he can do it. And the reason people say he didn't battle anybody black, blah blah blah. Nobody really wanted to fight with him.
I say that shit
why
all
Eminem
the
murdered you
It's
on your
funny
own
that you
shit.
say that. I say that all the time. People make that argument, and I tell them your favorite rapper didn't want anything with Eminem at the height of they didn't want it. But go ahead, continue.
There's only a few rappers that can go toe to toe on, but you have to outsmart Eminem, and it's really hard to do that. So, Busta, there is no denying classic after classic. He changes his style. There's no style he couldn't do. There's no beat he couldn't rap to. Fast, slow, lyrics are there, no matter what. Pure, just beautiful. Jay. Now, again, and I'll say this again, Jay might be the greatest rapper of all time. That's a difference. But he has to be on the top 10. Between influence, he inspired almost everybody that Nas didn't, even though he was still right there. But Jay is, hands down, always going to be in everybody's top 10, and he should. He has the catalog. He has the influence. Even though some of the content is still questionable, you can't argue his greatness. And I'll never question that. Kendrick. The best of all worlds. He inspired 3 generations, basically. He's in the middle of 3 generations, and he's that motherfucker. He can come out a rock album. He can put Imagine Dragons behind him and pull that shit off. He did his live album. He can do anything he wants. Again, I don't even consider him a rapper. I consider him a musician at this point. Cube, Ice Cube, regardless of what's going on, because of him, shit happened in the West Coast. He's the main reason why people's content or the lyrics were written for NWA and bringing that whole thing to life. Thank God for Dr. Dre too, but Cube made that magic happen. And Death Certificate, No Vaseline, please. That was one of the hardest diss tracks I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, at that point, nah. My last one is Black Thought. And Black Thought, again, there's nothing that man can't do. Freestyle, written, battle. You didn't want it with Black Thought. You don't want it with Black Thought. Now, any questions on that? Because I have.
Your list is surprisingly not as off kilter as what I thought it would be. The only person on your list that I wouldn't have in my top 10 would be KRS-One.
I might have to replace KRS-One with Bow Wow, bro. So you gotta.
Oh shit!
I'm just playing.
It's call now. Can I just disconnect now?
I will actually say this about your list. It didn't matter if I agree or disagree with that list. By the way, it is a dope ass list. By the way, that's your list.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
And everybody.
I agree.
And everybody that you said, I don't even care what order. I just wanted to know what order, because of how you were breaking it down. I would like to know why you would put them in that order. So, okay.
I'm going to say this, though. I looked at my list, and the one thing I missed, and that was my personal list. I do have to acknowledge something. I would remove Redman and Black Thought. And the only reason I would remove them is because, number one, Black Thought can't carry an album without the Roots. All his solo projects are cool, pure lyrics, but Redman, as much as I love him, I have to make room for 2 other people. And the reason I have to make room for these 2 other people is because I have to acknowledge the fact that without them, the hip-hop world would be different. Tupac has been mentioned by more rappers than any other rapper we know. So you can't deny that. He's always referenced. To this day, he's referenced in movies, whatever it is. He has a huge impact on hip-hop. And Biggie. Let's be real. The dude is, no matter how, my argument is, if it was still here, Jay wouldn't be as big. That's me. But Big he's still mentioned. He's still in people's mouths. So I can't deny that. And the reason I have to replace Redman and Thought with them, because they have a bigger impact on hip-hop than Red and Thought do. Even though Redman inspired Eminem, Big and Pac have a bigger influence. So
I shoot you some bail though, bro, because you just said Redman was a personal pick. I have a personal top 10, and then I have a top 10, which is separate.
But I have to still have to think about it. If I put this list and had to give a presentation on why my top 10 exist, and it's not just from a personal perspective, because I can't be biased. Because like I said, being biased, I have to choose Jay-Z or Nas. From my perspective, I don't have to do that because I'm more of a hip hop aficionado. I can't do that. So the reason I removed Red and Thought, because again, those are personal. I know what they did for the culture, but I also know the impact to this day that Tupac and Big has. You know what I mean? And let's be real, Lin-Manuel, if you want to look past this, look at the impact he has on hip hop right now and the influence he has and how he brought that to the show. Like, he probably has more white people listening, or older white people listening to hip hop than Eminem did. You get what I'm saying? So we don't know what we're going to look at coming, after this, but I have to acknowledge Big and Pac. So that's where I'm at with it. This is my top 10.
Okay.
All right.
All I gotta say is, next week we better be talking about that big documentary. I'm like 3/4 through, and if you had an appreciation for him then.
Yeah, we that'll be on the list next week.
But that Pac movie didn't do shit for him.
No.
Well, the Pac movie was not the best.
Oh my god!
And unfortunately, we can't have his mother do a documentary the way that Big's mom is doing now. So,
but
I mean, okay, that becomes Pac or Big, and enough. So here's a little known story. When I first met Marquis, that was probably the question that we might have bonded over. I don't know if you remember that.
Of course. I remember.
So that might be another question for another episode.
Yeah. Let's put that out there.
We should.
All right, but that has been another episode of the Breaks Radio. My ass is tired as shit. I'm sick. If you guys knew what I had to work through to get through this episode, my work ethic.
Yeah, Baylor. Huh? You had to work through Baylor. I got that.
Oh, but Mary, go ahead and give him your social media. Any parting words? Let's get the hell up out of here.
Okay. At Miss Mary Almonte on all social platforms. At Young Urban Moms. At Just Spice, unless you're Hayes, because I have to keep him away. No, I'm kidding.
34 days.
Yeah, for real. Parting words. Nah, stay up, y'all.
Marquis?
So when you say keep Hayes at bay, he's thinking Bay is one of the Spice Girls. So just wanted to make sure you were clear with that.
I saw what you were.
You got that?
You got that?
Okay, cool.
Pick it up.
Okay, cool. Empire. MPYRE. Exactly. That's it.
Go ahead, Baylor.
I think Baby Bash is a legend too. At Baby the Great on all social media platforms. BTG for President. Open Room with BTG, a part of the Rare Science Network. Wait till I make that list next week. Oh man,
you must be stopped, bro.
Yeah,
I'm hyped for this list.
That list is going.
If Master P on this list,
Mary, let me tell you, that list is going to be fire.
I'm sure.
And you know what? I'm gonna make it. Like Marquis.
Benzino's gonna be number one on there. You know that, right?
I'm gonna make it. Hey, look, Marquis. I'll go next door and ask him. Look, I am going to say this. I'm going to say this.
Baylor was in the back of Benzino's live, like.
I'm going to make that list off of Edible, and I am going to read that list off of Edible next week. It's going to be a treat.
I'm scared.
Soulja Boy.
The motherfucker has his own video game company.
Yo, you can follow me at CEO Hayes, at CEO HAIZE. You can follow us collectively at The Breaks Radio. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, thebreaksradio@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to send us a voicemail, you can do so at 614-547-2039. We are the number one hip-hop podcast in the land, and we out this bitch. Peace.
And we not going to talk about Hayes pulling the flu game? Look at him, though.